Welcome to a brief overview of the Mini Cooper S Countryman. This is a vehicle that is based on the same platform as the BMW X1 and X2, but as you can see with the interior and exterior design, there's close to no way of telling. Yes, it shares the same transmission, engine, and all-wheel drive system, but the Mini has its own personality in the same way that defines what makes a Mini. A Mini. It's got a playful interior and some cheeky Easter eggs that you can find in the infotainment menu. It's a riot to drive, and this is the mid-spec performance version, if you want to call it that. You have the standard Cooper, the Cooper S, and the JCW version. But really, we're just going to be focusing on this exact car that I have in front of me today. So let's go for a drive so I can share with you all of the interesting details with this Countryman and why it's something that you should be looking at if you're planning to find a subcompact crossover in your driveway. From the second you step into the Countryman or any other modern Mini product, you're given a sense of joy that I just don't think you can find in many other cars. There is so much personality bleeding out of this car, from the amount of customization to all of the playful graphics to some of the cheeky little hidden secrets that you'll find going through the menu system. But that isn't what makes a Mini a Mini. Yes, it's part of it, but what is the overall sense of character is the driving experience. It's an easy cop-out to say Minis are go-kart-like. What that kind of means is that you have very heavy and direct, firm steering. You jostle around and you bounce, and you've got this wonderful rumble from this four-cylinder engine. So the S, it has a 2-litre four-cylinder engine with a single twin-scroll turbocharger. It produces 189 horsepower and 207 pound-feet of torque. You have the choice of either a 6-speed manual transmission or an 8-speed automatic. Both of those transmissions will send power through Mini's all-wheel drive system that can split the power wherever it needs to go. I had the tremendous opportunity a couple months ago to drive the JCW version of the Mini Countryman, and it was an absolute riot of a car. It screamed at you, it was all fun and games, and you had the overall sense that that car wanted to have as much fun as you. It was along for the ride as much as what the driver was. But this S does make a strong case for itself as well. It has the snappy upshifts, although in this car you don't have paddles behind the steering wheel. You have to use the shift lever here. But having the toggle switches down here, especially for your stop, start, and up along the top to engage your reading lights or change the ambient lighting color, is fun. And that's what Minis just do best. They're just about fun. You have 3 different driving modes in the Countryman: green, mid, and sport. And when you get into any car that has different driving modes, you can tell a difference between the regular mode and the sport mode, but it's minimal. There really isn't much that changes. But in this car, there is a substantial difference between the green to the mid and the mid to the sport. I really like green mode in this car because typically when you get in any car's eco mode, all it does is numb the throttle pedal and lag the gear shifter. It's just driving with a bit of latency. But with this car, if you go into green mode and you're going along the highway, you have your cruise control set, this car can actually engage something called its coasting function. And what that does is totally separate the engine from the transmission when the car doesn't need any additional power. So they call it coasting mode to think of it if you're going down a hill or you've just merged off of a highway. It's a very clever implementation of this system, and without looking at your tach, you really would have no idea if the system has or hasn't engaged, or when it snaps back into action. Sport mode turns the Countryman into a proper laugh. The exhaust gets angrier, the throttle gets more alert, and the ride gets definitely a little stiffer as well. As this Countryman and the rest of the Mini lineup use run-flat tires, you'll note that there isn't a spare tire in this car, but this opens up a rather deep hidden compartment in the boot, offering a lot more space than you would ever expect out of a Mini. Again, another surprise of the Mini is that even sitting behind myself, it's not terrible back there, because there's a significant indent into those front seats. I can fit my knees behind and comfortably sit back there for a short trip. Long amount of time, I'm not so sure, but At least this is something that the Countryman can offer, whilst a lot of other subcompacts would be impossible for me to sit behind myself. So this has been a brief look of the Mini Cooper S Countryman. Thanks for stopping by and watching this video. And if you want to test drive this exact vehicle alongside any of the other Minis in their current lineup, be sure to check out Mini Calgary, located in the Southeast Auto Mall. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you soon.